edition. The Houston Rockets versus the Orlando Magic.
Yes, it is Christmas night in Orlando, and this game is so significant that Santa wanted to be here despite pulling an all-nighter last night. And indoors, a capacity crowd better than 17,000 turning out at the Orlando Arena for the two teams that met in last season's NBA Finals, the Houston Rockets and the Orlando Magic. Both off to fast starts. Orlando at 21-6. They have won 4 of the last 5, and Houston at 19 up and 7 down. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert along with Matt Gukas. And for the first time since they got together in the NBA Finals last June, these two teams are getting together, which leads to one of the premier matchups in the NBA. At the center spot is Shaquille O'Neal going against Hakeem Olajuwon.
And Marv, when these two centers of attention have the ball, they will never be lonely. However, Shaq will take the challenge early and try to play Hakeem one-on-one. Shaq missed the first 22 games. His numbers right where he left off, including the sliding free throw percentage. Hakeem missed all the preseason, but he is just starting to hit his stride for another MVP caliber season. The big question for tonight is, can Hakeem and his teammates make up for the absence of Clyde Drexler? Because Shaq and company have redemption on their mind because they were swept last year in the finals in June.
All right, so coming up, it's the Houston Rockets and the Orlando Magic on this Christmas night in Orlando. Back in Orlando for the 228th consecutive regular season sellout. Look at the starting lineups first for the Houston Rockets, the two-time defending NBA champions, with Horry and Brown at the forwards, Olajuwon the center, Ellie and Smith at the guards. For the Magic, Scott and Grant up front, O'Neal at center, Anderson and Hardaway at the guards. And now making his 95-96 regular season debut, the Dean. Sideline reporting. Here's Ahmad Rashad.
All right, thanks, Marv. In terms of injury for the Orlando Magic, Horace Grant has missed the last 4 games with the tendonitis. He's fine. He will play today. But seeing that it is Christmas, I know a lot of you want to know what these players got for Christmas. So I have done some extensive research. Penny Hardaway got the best gift. He got a electric toothbrush from his mother. Anthony Bowie got a robe. Tree Rollins got socks and underwear, which were much needed. And Shaq and Brian Shaw got nothing, but they said it's much better to be able to give during this holiday season than to receive. And for the Houston Rockets, well, they got an all-expense trip to Orlando, as we did. Marv?
And a very heartwarming report from Ahmad to get things going in the new season. The officials, Jess Kersey, Nolan Fine, and Monty McCutcheon on a 52-degree day here in Orlando. It's been a little nippy recently, and they are expecting to go down to the low 30s tonight here in the Orlando area. Shaquille O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon with Jess Kersey about to throw it up. And it's controlled by the Magic. Horace Grant for Penny Hardaway. Hardaway guarded by the smaller Kenny Smith. O'Neal getting position down low. Here comes the help. Chucky Brown comes over. Open shot for Dick Anderson. And back come the Rockets. Kenny Smith, Robert Horry, Mario Ellie, and Chucky Brown.
He's getting good shots by going inside first. In the case of the Magic, drawing the double team. Shaq found the open man. They moved it for a good shot. Inside to Horry, and then another good shot.
A beautiful move by Hardaway, but could not convert. The Houston Rockets coming off the loss on Saturday night in San Antonio, losing to the Spurs 110-95. Spurs shot 52% of that game. Here's Ellie for 3. Mario Ellie from downtown.
You can see the surprise on Hakeem's face when he saw that he was being guarded one-on-one by Shaq. His eyes lit up. He didn't know what to do. Threw it back out, got it back inside. And then when he put the ball on the floor, Nick Anderson came down to double. Hakeem found the open man.
Hardaway hit on a reach-in. The last game for Orlando was Saturday night, and they won at Detroit 94-79. As Hardaway was able to hit 16 of his 22 points in the third quarter. In the month of November, with Shaquille O'Neal out of action, Penny Hardaway averaged 27 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. He was the NBA's player of the month and has certainly enjoyed going up against the Houston Rockets. This includes the stats from the NBA Finals last season.
That's almost frightening, Marv. He just gets better and better. His confidence is at an all-time level. Brian Hill telling me yesterday that even with Shaq back, it will not diminish the role that Anthony has with his team. He will still get his touches and catches, especially in the post.
He actually has been attempting the same number of shots, even with Shaquille back in the lineup. Horace Grant to the rebound. Minute and a half gone by. Rockets with a 3-2 lead. Second half of our NBA doubleheader. Grant able to recover. And the Magic up by 1. Earlier was San Antonio defeating Phoenix 105-100. So the Spurs are now 17-7. They're a game behind the Rockets. Olajuwon with a beautiful baseline touch.
Oh, that one would not have mattered had a double team come. That's Akeem's favorite shot. That spin away on the baseline. Too quick for Shaq to challenge.
Again, the rotation off the double team by O'Neal. On O'Neal. Kept alive by the Magic. So Hardaway with 5 of Orlando's 7 points.
Last year in the finals, it seemed that the Rockets got every one of those types of loose balls and turned them into field goals. This time the Magic do it.
Robert Horry, who has been struggling as of late with a sore knee. And for Robert Horry, that is his first 2-point field goal in the last 4 games.
Maybe the first one he's taken. He has become almost a strictly 3-point shooter.
O'Neal able to fight off the box out by Olajuwon, who claims that he was fouled.
Well, there's all kinds of contact in there, but when Shaq throws that 330, maybe 340 pounds now, having missed all that time, bodies will fly. Akeem looked for help from referee Jess Kersey, got none.
9-7 Orlando. Olajuwon with the spin, and he's fouled.
The foul on number 32.
So Shaquille O'Neal collects his first personal.
Well, Akeem being covered one-on-one by Shaquille O'Neal. That little fadeaway jump shot has been his bread and butter now for so many years in the NBA. Here's Shaq going over the top, and Akeem may have had a legitimate claim there. Normally, that's an easy call for officials. Even if there isn't contact, it looks like a foul, and many times officials will just call it.
Shaquille O'Neal missing the first 22 games with that fracture in the base of his right thumb. And Akeem Olajuwon back from surgery on his left elbow. That kept him out of preseason. Also bothered by a sore back. And actually had not been his normal self until recently, although the stats are impressive.
Well, the numbers were down, but the other players, Ellie, Cassell, Horry picked it up, and of course you have Clyde Drexler there carrying much of the load.
Rockets wanted to run, but the Magic getting back. Horry pulled Olajuwon, but he came up short on the reverse.
Pass not high enough, and Akeem kind of smiling, looking at Robert Horry, said, good thought, good idea, but Akeem found himself too far underneath the rim.
Game tied at 9 with 4 minutes gone by. Hardaway for 3. And hit the 24-second clock, so the ball will go back to Houston.
Well, here Akeem in transition, trying to beat and successfully beating Shaq down the floor. Usually Shaq is doing that to his opponents, but just bad communication, bad timing. As I said before, Akeem too far underneath.
Off the double team, puts it up, and here's Nick Anderson for the open floor. Orlando with a 2-point lead. Olajuwon going to the crossover to set up the jump shot.
Akeem so comfortable facing the basket here. Shaq in transition.
And Olajuwon did not want to pick up the foul.
He was back there with him. He made the effort to sprint back. But Shaq, with that kind of position, a wise move on the part of Akeem Olajuwon, giving that one up.
The Magic leading 13-9. Chucky Brown swinging in. Pretty move by Chucky Brown has done a nice job now in a starting role for the Houston Rockets, a guy who began last season in the CBA. Again, the good position by Shaquille. And back comes Ellie. Smith. Pass intended for Ori. Hardaway has a 3-on-2. But they slow it up with the Rockets getting back. Scott using O'Neal with the pick. It's a 3 for Dennis Scott. And the Magic lead 16-11.
And the Rockets look extremely tired right now, just barely getting into the front court right now, turning around, looking for some help from Rudy Tomjanovich, probably hoping for a timeout, but there'll be one at the next dead ball.
Ori working hard and fouled by Scott. And now the Rockets do get the timeout. 6.5 to go in this first quarter. You're watching the NBA on NBC. Orlando head coach Brian Hill last month rewarded with a 3-year extension on his contract. You know, following that 4-game sweep by the Rockets in the finals last June, I'll never forget the scene with Brian Hill keeping his team on the court for motivational purposes to remember the moment. We talked about that with Brian.
Well, when that game ended, I wanted the team to get together in the middle of the floor because I just wanted them to soak in the atmosphere. I knew the agony that they were going through at that particular moment, and that didn't have to be discussed. But at the same time, I wanted them to see the Houston Rockets celebrating, to see the euphoria in the crowd, and soak up that atmosphere, because that ultimately is what we want to experience as a basketball team. And we just wanted to stay there for a minute and reflect on it and get off, and hopefully we'll have an opportunity to redeem ourselves someday.
Well, there never can be any fun in being swept, but I think Brian Hill wanted to make sure his team didn't hang their heads and start worrying about it. Brian and his staff and the players had to tip their hats to the Houston Rockets. They played remarkable basketball throughout all of the playoffs, and in particular in the finals. They set a standard that was almost unbelievable. Yes, it was a 4-0 sweep, but 3 of those games could have gone either way.
Robert Horry so instrumental in the sweep by the Houston Rockets, coming off a low-key performance against the Spurs the other night. So hits 1 of 2, and it's Orlando 16 and Houston 12.
Now Robert Horry is bothered by tendonitis in that knee, and it's really been bothering his back, stiffens up, and sometimes Penny Hardaway just keeping the ball in the dribble and pounding and stuffing it through.
Hardaway has 7, and Orlando leads by 6. We were chatting with Rudy Tomjanovich, the Rockets coach, prior to the game. He's not happy the way things have been going for his ball club. Of course, Clyde Drexler is out and probably will be out for the next 2 weeks with that shin injury. Here's Chucky Brown. Hardaway for the rebound, but he says the chemistry has been off the last couple of games.
Well, there was some grumbling the other night when the ball kept going inside to Hakeem, and they won that game against the Portland Trailblazers. Very unusual situation. Robert Horry, Mario Ellie complaining about not getting enough touches.
Yes, they say that it's been too predictable, but here's Grant not able to hit. And Shaquille stripped. Ball was knocked away. It'll be Orlando in possession. Horace Grant 1 of 5 here at the start.
Penny does a lot of his damage in post-up situations here, using the O'Neal screen and turning the corner, getting no help, and there's a Christmas stocking stuffer for Penny Hardaway.
We asked Rudy T about the complaints. He says, one game, they lost, everybody annoyed. Horace now 1 of 6, so he just discounts the grumbling by a couple of the players. The Rockets, 2-time defending NBA champions, and off to the good start at 19-7. Cassell, who just checked in, hits the 3. Sam Cassell wasting no time, able to hit from downtown.
He has had some tremendous moments against this Magic team. He's coming off a 33-point performance the other night against San Antonio.
So it's Orlando by 3. Scott, yes, 3-pointer for Dennis Scott, his second of the quarter. And it's Orlando 21 and Houston 15.
And with Clyde Drexler out, Sam Cassell becomes so much more important to this Rocket team as far as being a scorer and a distributor.
Elijah Wan with the recovery, then forced the shot. The Rockets have usually been a fast starting team, They've had good first quarters, look to be a little sluggish here. O'Neal with a drop step. And back comes Cassell. Hardaway off the dribble, yes, and it counts. What a move by Sam Cassell.
Well, Sam Cassell has just raised his level of play now in his third year, and excellent with the basketball. Here, the crossover to beat Hardaway, and he has that Rod Strickland type of game that he can get into the lane and make difficult shots. That was one of the easier ones, however, for Sam.
Foul was called on Nick Anderson. Sam Cassell, with 2 years in the NBA, 2 championship rings, and he has come up, as you mentioned, very big in the playoffs. Both seasons has tremendous poise. 4 minutes remaining in this opening quarter. The Magic leading by 3. Here is Anderson. Shooting has been off. Cassell looks to be playing at a different speed, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's got the live legs and the bright eyes, finding other people. He's ready to go. So far, the rest of the Rockets running in mud.
And rebounded by Ori. Ellie met by Anderson. Orlando has missed 7 of its last 8 shots, and the misses have been way off the mark. What a position for Ori. Back by Grant. Horace Grant on the rejection. Here's Nick Anderson. Houston not getting back it. That had to bother Rudy Tomjanovich.
Well, and this has been a problem ever since Clyde Drexler has gone out with the injury. All the little things that the Rockets have done so well have gone south for them. In particular, transition defense. It was horrible against the Spurs the other night. Ori, not the best post player in the world, although the Rockets trying to take advantage of his size over Dennis Scott. That knocked out of there, and the fast break basket as Nick Anderson gets into the act.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Hi, I'm Dennis Scott, Orlando Magic, wishing you the happiest of holidays and the best of the new year. Oh, what fun it is to ride in the one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Matt, do you think Dennis knew that he was being taped for television?
I'll tell you what, it's a good thing he can shoot the three-pointer.
Man. Yes.
I think the Rockets have to be happy, Marv. Only down 5 points the way they're playing right now. A lot of it has to do with the Magic shooting, but I look for them to go inside to Hakeem. Right now, Shaq is out of there. Koncak will continue to try to play him one-on-one.
John Koncak, who's done a nice job, particularly in the absence of Shaquille O'Neal at the start of the season. Crowd does not like the call. Last touch by Orlando. Houston will have 13 on the 24-second clock with just under 3 minutes to go in this first quarter. 5-point lead for the Magic. And Hakeem Olajuwon hitting his second field goal. Recent games, Brian Hill has gone with what he has called the combination of Shaquille and John Koncak, the Shaq attack.
And Kak has been getting his hacks in as well, leading the league in personal fouls and disqualifications. Jeff Turner was kidding me yesterday. Said, hey, not too many players in this league can lead in 2 categories.
Mario Elie cuts it to a 1-point Orlando lead. Crowd urging the Magic on. Hardaway guarded by Cassell. Finds an open Dennis Scott. Yes, foot on the line. It's a 2-pointer. He's hit 3 out of 4. He has 8 points. And it is Orlando 25 and Houston 22.
You don't expect that kind of confusion from a normally good defensive team like the Rockets to get messed up on a little simple pick and roll. Same size players, should have been a switch.
Olajuwon fouled by Koncak. So Hakeem now beginning to show us the spinning repertoire.
Normally most teams will switch in a situation. Hardaway and Dennis Scott, one 6'7", the other 6'8". No communication at all between Robert Horry and Sam Cassell. And Dennis Scott does not need a lot of daylight to knock that 3 down.
Hakeem only 67% from the foul line. He is averaging 24 points, 11 rebounds, 3 block shots earlier this season. Went over the 20,000-point plateau for his career. Only the 9th player to hit that mark, and also pull down 10,000 rebounds. Nick Anderson departs. Brian Shaw checking in. Anderson leads with 2 for 4 points.
And when Brian Shaw comes off the bench, he and Penny Hardaway in sync, always looking for one another, like to throw the lob in transition. And they normally like to post up Penny Hardaway because well, right now they're having some success with Dennis Scott in there.
Magic with a 1-point lead. And here's Shaw. Rebounded by Brown. Olajuwon again spinning his way and hitting. Hakeem appears to be working his way into the game.
Starting to feel it. You can see the rhythm, tremendous footwork, and I don't even think he knows what he's going to do. It just comes so natural to him, and then he gets good looks.
Koncak. Well, John Koncak hitting on his first field goal attempt, and the Magic back to a 1-point lead with just under 1 minute to go in this first quarter. Cassell for 3. Hardaway sweeps it.
Well, the 3-point shot is a big part of the Houston offense, especially when the ball goes inside to Hakeem Olajuwon.
And a reach-in foul. It's on Brown.
Foul number 52, Chucky Brown.
Chucky Brown trying to stop the ball.
First in the last 2 minutes.
Substitution, Mark Bryant off the Houston bench, and Hakeem Olajuwon will get a brief rest. Sits down with 10 points. Grant with the nice lead for Hardaway. Horace Grant making his return today after missing the last 4 games because of the flu and tendonitis in his right shin. Trying to recapture the touch. Pretty pass right there, and he's done a good job off the boards with 5 rebounds. Down to 15 seconds to go in the first quarter. Orlando by 3. Oh, what a shot. Robert Horry off balance, able to hit from the baseline. Final seconds of the quarter. The steal by Ellie, and time runs out.
Let's go.
So after 1 here in Orlando, it's the Magic by 1. Hakeem Olajuwon, 3 of 7 for 10 points. Shaquille O'Neal, 2 for 6 here at the start. 7 points along with 6 rebounds. 1 quarter in the books on this Christmas night in the Magic Kingdom. Rudy Tomjanovich and his Houston Rockets have won 2 straight NBA titles. Only the Minneapolis Lakers, the Boston Celtics, and the Chicago Bulls have won at least 3 championships in a row. We talked about that earlier with Rudy.
On the first day when we got together in training camp, I said, we have a great opportunity right here to go down in the history of one of the greatest teams of all time. And it's a special honor. Not many people get that opportunity, and we have it right here. And, you know, I feel that it can happen. It's going to be tough. We always have respect for the league and how tough it is to win. You know, I think that's what keeps us motivated.
Well, Rudy was telling me before the game he feels his team is playing at about 65% of where they were during the playoffs last year with and without Clyde Drexler. On the other hand, he said, I hope we don't play like we played then. We'll never be able to match that. That was extraordinary basketball.
Second quarter underway here in Orlando with the Magic leading the Rockets 29-28. Robert Horry very active here at the start. Shaquille O'Neal is back on the floor. That was his 7th rebound. Joe Wolf and Anthony Bowie have come on for the first time for the Magic. Keel now being guarded by Mark Bryant. Here's Shaw. And it will be Houston back in possession. Houston shot 10 of 20 in the first quarter. Orlando 12 of 29, and the Magic have had the edge off the boards.
And the 6 offensive. Houston the last 2 years, the poorest offensive rebounding team in the league, yet still win 2 NBA championships. They're giving rebounding a bad name.
Yes. Joe Wolf getting to the loose ball. And you can hear the Wolf reaction from the crowd. He's become a cult figure here. That is next to you in this area.
Well, Waitley makes a field goal. He is shooting the ball unbelievably well. He's a career 41%.
Bowie. And a foul is called as Bryant entangled with O'Neal. It's on Mark Bryant.
Foul number 2, Mark Bryant.
Kilcutt has also come on for the first time for the Rockets. Here is Tim Bro, a second-year player from Wyoming. So Rudy Tomjanovich going to the bench here early second quarter.
Well, Rudy was also telling me that one of the reasons why his team is struggling, they haven't gotten very good practice time because of the nature of their schedule. And now with Drexler out, it puts even more pressure on these players playing, not used to or normally being used to having Clyde around. It's really getting coal in your stocking. No Drexler for all that he gives his team.
And as you know, you can certainly relate to coaches complaining. Still, this Houston Rocket team has won 19 and lost 7. They lead the Midwest Division. They're now 1 game over San Antonio, with the Spurs beating the Suns earlier today. Cassell drawing the foul. San Antonio with a 105-100 victory over Phoenix, led by Sean Elliott, who had 26, David Robinson 25, Charles Barkley 29 points and 12 rebounds. Shaquille O'Neal called for the foul, his second.
And Brian Hill not happy at all, trying to get the referee Monty McCutcheon's attention to let him know. Smart play by Sam Cassell. Did a good job of beating his initial defender, got into the lane, and he's so upset with missing that free throw, as the Rockets a very good free throw shooting team. The exception, Akeem so far, but Sam Cassell so clever in using his body, warding off Shaquille, taking a little bump and picking up Shaq's second.
Matt, would you say there was an excellent job in following up his free throw?
Well, that guy who takes the shot, he knows when it misses. He generally knows where it's going to go. Dead ball or not.
And the Rockets tied at 29 with a minute 45 gone by in the second. Shaquille O'Neal with his third field goal. He has 6 points. He had a monster game against Patrick Ewing in the Knicks here last Friday night. A little bit more low-key. Pretty move once again by Robert Horry. A bit more on the low-key side against the Pistons on Saturday, but Shaquille very much back. Still not in tip-top position. Pretty pass throw by Shaquille for Wolf, and you hear the reaction.
I mentioned before, career 41%, shooting 56% here. Of course, going to make a lot of those kinds of shots, but the Magic reading the Rocket double team very well right now.
Bryant is fouled. Wolf looking for the tie-up.
Officials timeout.
And a timeout is taken. 9:28 remaining in the second quarter. The foul was called on Joe Wolf. It's the Magic 33 and the Rockets 31. You are watching the NBA on NBC.
While we were going away to commercial, Mark Bryant picked up a technical foul. Here he gets good possession, fights off Joe Wolf, gets the foul call, and goes to the line and picks up a technical foul. Joe Wolf can't believe it, but I think Mark Bryant was more upset with the defensive play before when he was covering Shaquille O'Neal, and Shaq just dipped that shoulder right into the chest of Mark Bryant and didn't get the call. I think that's what he was upset about.
So Dennis Scott, an 84% free throw shooter, will shoot the technical. 2.5 gone by in the second quarter. And the Magic now leading the Rockets 34-31.
And the Rockets have had some success going to what they call their second option right now without the availability of Drexler, and that's Robert Horry. He has the height advantage over Dennis Scott, has made some field goals there, and they would like to see Horry get involved in posting up, slashing to the basket, not just rely on the three.
Pass for Bryant. The basket will not count. Whistle by Nolan Fine before the shot attempt. Ryan Shaw called for the shove on Sam Cassell. Rockets now going with Cassell and Bro at the guards. Bryant, Chilcutt, and Horry up front. Horry will throw in. Horry being guarded now by Scott. Bryant going at O'Neal. And he's called for a calming violation.
Well, the strategy obvious there as Bryant, a good low post player, has a nice little jump hook in the lane. He tried the same thing to dip that shoulder into O'Neal. Before he did it, however, he turned the ball over.
So Orlando in possession. They lead by 3. Olajuwon getting a long rest and now making his way over to the scorer's table.
And Mark Bryant, he's signed himself right now, figuring he can't get a call at the other end. And when he tries to put a body on Shaquille O'Neal at the defensive end, they're going to have a call to foul against him.
And committed his second. So he takes a seat as Akeem has returned. Olajuwon tried to go for the block and then held back as Shaquille hits his 4th field goal. He's 4 of 7. He has 8 points along with 7 rebounds. The Magic up by 5. Akeem rebounded by Shaquille.
Hakeem is not really what you would call a power player, more of a finesse inside player, but he can still draw fouls if he puts the ball on the floor and takes it hard at Shaquille, and that's what the Rockets are trying to do right now at the offensive end.
Good job by Chilcutt on the double team. And then it's picked off by Bro. Cassell pushing it down. Bad pass in traffic recovered by Ori. Finding Olajuwon. He lost it. Here comes Shaw, 3-on-2. Scott spots it. Cassell calls for time. Sam Cassell calling for the 22nd timeout to save it.
A good defensive transition that time by the Houston Rockets, an area of their game that has been struggling. Dennis Scott, you could see, a little upset with himself, but that alert play by Sam Cassell to get possession of the ball while in the air and get the stoppage of play, the 22nd timeout. At that other end, here's Sam Cassell hustling for that loose ball, a trademark of the Rockets, not even thinking about throwing in. As soon as he made eye contact with the official, called for the 20.
Well, this is the first time that the Houston Rockets and the Orlando Magic have met since back on June the 14th at the Summit in Houston when the Rockets swept the Magic. This is the first of 2 regular season meetings. In regular season play lifetime, Houston has won 9 of 15. They will meet again in Houston on January the 21st. Orlando with a 5-point lead. They converge on Olajuwon. Shot clock down to 6. Cassell, the left hand, and an offensive foul call.
Well, Brian Hill bought that call about 5 or 6 minutes ago when Cassell made that penetration and picked up the second foul on Shaquille O'Neal. By Brian Hill complaining and not too vociferously, got the attention of the officials, and he'll wave off ever so slightly with the right arm. Not really a good call, but it was bought before.
Substitutions, Penny Hardaway, Nick Anderson return. Aaron Bryant and Olajuwon with the rebound. Olajuwon gives it back out. Ori for 3. Get up! And Hardaway with the rebound.
Akeem keeps trying to make that contact with Shaquille O'Neal to try to draw that 3rd personal foul, but he's not forcing anything. If he doesn't have it, he is finding the open shooter. Here's a long violation.
And a timeout is taken with 6:57 left in this first half. It's Orlando by 5.
And it'd be tough to feel.
Hi, this is Grant Hill of the Detroit Pistons. I want to wish everyone a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year.
And I'm told that Grant has taken it upon himself to deliver 1,000 meals and Christmas cards to the elderly in the Detroit area. He is personally delivering 5 of those meals. Grant Hill of the Detroit Pistons, who we will see here on NBC as part of our doubleheader, January 21st, the Bulls and the Pistons, followed by the same Orlando Magic and Houston Rockets. And on TNT tomorrow night, a meeting between the Detroit Pistons and the Indiana Pacers. Well, the Magic up 36-31 with 6 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the first half. Oh, air ball thrown by Akeem. And Hardaway for three. Rebounded by Chilcutt.
Good read again by Shaquille with the double team, getting rid of the ball quickly. Good ball movement for an open shot and an attempt at an offensive rebound. The Rockets do not have an offensive rebound in this game yet.
Well, Bro taking it to the basket. Does it count? We have a foul call. Yes, it does. No, it does not. The officials checking with each other. Jess Kersey saying no foul before the shot attempt.
You don't see this too often. Shaquille wide open, and whatever happened there just jerked the arm down a little bit and got nothing but air.
Foul on Anderson. Here's Bro going at Hardaway, and he draws the foul again. Anthony Hardaway called for the foul on Tim Bro, who is in his second year out of Wyoming. Signed as a free agent last year, appeared in 42 games. You see Bro make the move. Started 2 games last season. Limited action, though, averaged 3 points a game. He was on the injured list earlier this year due to a stress fracture in his left heel and getting some playing time in the absence of Clyde Drexler.
And Tim was extremely disappointed, as you can imagine, not being on the playoff roster for the Rockets, but worked hard in the offseason and the preseason, earned a spot on the team again.
Missing both free throws. Houston struggling here in the second quarter. Only 1 of 6 from the field. Only 3 points in 6 minutes and change in the second quarter. Hardaway draws the foul. So Hardaway to the foul line. Foul committed by Ellie, his first.
Hardaway shooting 2.
Eddie Hardaway averaging 25 points a game, 6.5 assists, leads the NBA in free throws and free throw attempts, spending much time at the line, and you can see the difference from a year ago. This because of Shaquille missing the first 22 games, so he certainly stepped it up. Misses both here at the line.
Very unusual. Penny has improved that part of his game. Marv, I think he's about the best post player in basketball, and that's saying something when you're talking about people like Shaq and Karl Malone. Penny is so quick, gets excellent position, and not only able to score, but get fouled.
Well, Cassell thought he was fouled, but he lost the ball. No call made as you take another look at it.
Well, the Rockets not shooting the ball well from the perimeter, so putting their head down, trying to drive, looking for contact there. He fell hard on his back.
And a good non-call. Hardaway gets inside. So the post-up move by Hardaway.
That's what I mean, and he's going against a tough defender. Yes, Mario Ellie is about 2 or 3 inches shorter, but bangs you hard, doesn't give easy position. He had a lot of success against Penny in the playoffs last season.
Elijah Wan line drives at home. He has 12 points. The Magic 38, the Rockets 33.
Screen across again for Hardaway.
Rejected. So the basket counts. Hardaway with 13 points.
Mario Ellie talking to himself right now. When he give up position like that in the lane, all created by the screen across by O'Neal. Akeem came over to help out, but way too late.
Cassell and rebounded by Anderson. Foul on Cassell. A little too aggressive with Shaw. That's 2 on Cassell. The game tomorrow night is Chicago, Indiana, not Detroit, Indiana, which will be seen on TNT.
I'm sure Indiana just happy to get back out on the floor after losing a heartbreaker to the Cleveland Cavaliers the other night on a buzzer beater by Terrell Brandon. And Indiana off to a disappointing start, largely because of the absence of Rick Smits for much of the year. He's been back, now hurt again.
I don't want to disturb Larry Brown's preparation. It is Chicago, Indiana.
He went to a different folder.
Off the save. Open shot for Hardaway. Rebounded by O'Neal. And the pushing foul. Sam Cassell collecting his third.
The Orlando Magic have not been the best rebounding team this season, but when you consider Shaquille missing the first 22 games of the season, Horace Grant has been out for 6 games, the rebounding will obviously suffer. But even since Shaq has been back, the Magic have been out-rebounded on a number of occasions. But when you're winning games the way they are, it is not a major problem right now. It's just something they're going to have to improve on as the season goes along.
And Shaquille to the line for the first time, shooting 53% over his first 5 games, 32 of 60 at the foul line. On the subject of free throw shooting, we had a long chat with Nick Anderson, who has vivid memories of last season's NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets, and says he's put it all behind him, but was very anxious to go up against the Rockets here tonight.
It had to be a difficult off season for Nick, hearing it from all different directions, but professional that he is, he has put it behind him. His free throw shooting is up around 70%, but I'm sure that memory will be there for a long, long time.
Magic up by 9. Olajuwon. Rebounded by Hardaway. Shaw pops it down. Orlando by 11, leading to a Houston timeout. .351 remaining in the first half. Shaquille with the stuff. He has 12 along with 9 rebounds. And in the second quarter, Shaq and the Magic providing bad vibes for the Rockets. Orlando outscoring Houston 15-5 here in the second.
There's Shaq on the fly pattern, going to go. Akeem Beaton's going to get help from Robert Horry, but Horry gives way, and quarterback Brian Shaw hits him on the run for the stuff. Robert Horry was there for a long time. He realized that Akeem, although hustling to get back, was clearly beaten. He tried to lay a body on Shaq, but just laid it ever so slightly and got out of there.
Orlando Magic with the home record of 14-0. Ellie on the drive. Shaq leading the break. Gets it. And delivers. 13-point Orlando lead. Here's Kenny Smith. Dennis Scott with the rebound. As I mentioned, 14-0 at home for the Magic this season. 21 straight dating back to last season, and this is game 1 of a 4-game homestand. Here's the double on O'Neal. Pass too hard for Hardaway.
And normally Kenny does not make that cut. That's normally Horace Grant's job to get to the basket. They're not used to communicating on that play.
And pass leading to the turnover. Orlando taking over in the second quarter. Houston only 2 of 12 from the field. Hardaway rebounded by Brown. Chucky Brown is up front with Hakeem Olajuwon and Robert Horry, Mario Ellie, Kenny Smith in the backcourt. 2.5 to go in the half. Brown, air ball fielded by Olajuwon. It blows the stuff and then blows the triple.
Rockets out of sync right now. Starting to get some second chances, but they just don't look confident. They don't look comfortable. And Shaquille, even with those 2 personal fouls, really working hard defensively, challenging shots.
O'Neal. 15-point Orlando lead with just under 2 minutes to go in this first half. Marv Albert with Matt Guokas and Ahmad Rashad from the Orlando Arena. shooting difficulties for the Rockets continue. Scott for three. And again, it's Brown with the rebound. So the Rockets now 2 of 17 from the field here in the second quarter. Orlando with a 10-0 run. Olajuwon surrounded. Kenny Smith hits from downtown. And the Magic with vivid memories of Kenny Smith. Game 1 of the NBA Finals. He broke a Finals record with 7 3-pointers, 7 of 11 overall for 23 points in that opening game victory.
Well, the Rockets have to get some perimeter shooting right now because nothing else is going well for them. As Nick Anderson gets himself a perimeter jump shot. The Rockets now down by 15. They almost have to consider themselves lucky because it looked like the Magic were really going to run away and hide with defense and running.
So off the three-pointer by Anderson, a 15-point lead. Brown had it knocked away, recovered by Smith. Shot clock is at 5. And Kenny Smith lost it off his foot. Now, Matt, I would think that the chant, and it won't just be a chant, the diatribe from Rudy Tomjanovich at halftime will deal with the word embarrassment on national television.
Well, that too, Mark. And this is the way this team has been playing. Now, they've been able to win a lot of ball games, and then when Drexler went hurt, it really disrupted this team because Kawhi was meaning so much to their overall effort, and they have not adjusted yet.
Hardaway, and again Brown with the rebound. 20 seconds remaining in the half. The Magic leading 51-36. Put home by Morey. So the Rockets now 4 of 19 in the quarter. And at the half, it's Orlando 51 and Houston 38. A 22-10 advantage for the Magic in the second. Stay tuned for the Prudential halftime report right after this.
It's safe.
Back in Orlando, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays from all of us at NBC Sports. Marv Albert with Matt Kukas and Ahmad Rashad. The Magic by 13 as we head to the second half. A look at the Miller Lite halftime stats. Houston 14 of 39, only 36% with a terrible shooting second quarter. And Orlando 21 of 50. In the first half, and off the boards, Orlando with a 30-21 edge. Shaquille O'Neal with a 16-point, 11-rebound first half. We'll be back with the third quarter from the arena in a moment. Back in Orlando, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays from all of us at NBC Sports. Marv Albert with Matt Kukas and Ahmad Rashad. The Magic by 13 as we head to the second half. A look at the Miller Lite halftime stats. Houston 14 of 39, only 36% with a terrible shooting second quarter. And Orlando 21 of 50 in the first half, and off the boards, Orlando with a 30-21 edge. Shaquille O'Neal with a 16-point, 11-rebound first half. We'll be back with the third quarter from the arena in a moment. Back in Orlando, a nightmare for the Rockets in the second quarter. I mentioned a horrendous second quarter. How about 4 of 19 from the field, only 10 points for Houston?
For the Rockets to play well and have a chance to win this ballgame, Akeem Olajuwon has to play very well. He did not in the first half. And the other guy that has to get something going is Sam Cassell when he comes into the game. He gave him a little bit of life at the end of the first quarter. Nobody did anything in the second quarter for Houston.
Cassell got himself in foul difficulty. Ellie not able to hit on the back tap, handled by Smith. Morey with Brown and Olajuwon up front. Smith and Ellie in the backcourt. Akeem Olajuwon. Pretty move by Akeem. So he has 14 points. He was off in the first half and well off the mark. The Rockets low in terms of franchise history as Olajuwon is called for the foul. They once had a 7-point quarter against the Lakers back in November of '91. Only 10 points in the second quarter here.
Well, the Magic started out playing Shaquille one-on-one against Hakeem. It was generally effective in the first half. A couple of times when Hakeem put the ball on the ball, Shaq would get help from his teammates, but they're going to stay with this. And what that does is it keeps the other Rockets from getting involved. They were 3 for 8 from beyond the arc, but normally this is a very prolific three-point shooting team, and it's all generated from double teams on Hakeem Olajuwon. And when you don't have to double them, it cuts everybody off.
Well, Shaquille hit his first 2 free throws, and he misses 2 here. The Magic 51 and the Rockets 40. Horry posting up and surprised Brown. Everybody, Chucky Brown, and then he drew the foul. It's called on Horace Grant.
Foul number 54, Horace
So for
Grant.
Horace, his first.
That's a butter play for Chucky Brown and Clyde Drexler, where Chucky gets the ball
Chucky
around the
Brown
left elbow,
shooting
feeds inside to Horry, makes a cut, and normally Clyde and Chucky have hooked up on some good plays here. I don't think Chucky even expected a pass because Robert Horry normally does not post up. They have to put him in that position right now because they have to find some other offense other than Hakeem Olajuwon, and Robert Horry is a good choice.
Chucky Brown, in his 7th season out of North Carolina State, began his Rockets career last year on a 10-day contract. Play a significant role. Oh, it's tipped home. It was tipped home by Olajuwon, and suddenly only an 8-point Magic lead. Hardaway able to get down deep on the blocks.
It's just nothing Kenny Smith or generally any other player can do with Penny Hardaway when he gets it that deep.
Orlando by 10. Smith for 3. Yes. Kenny Smith with his second from downtown, and the Rockets are down by only 7.
And Kenny realizes that he's going to get posted up time and time again. Here's good help from Mario Elie.
Orlando is led by as many as 15 points. Grant trying to keep it alive. Smith on the ball, eluding Hardaway. Smith for Brown. Comes back to Brown. Chucky Brown with a rimmer, and a foul is called. It's against the Magic. It's on Scott, his second.
Well, normally Horace Grant, so fundamentally sound in boxing out, did a reasonably good job, but he just gets burrowed in by Olajuwon and just pushes him underneath the basket and gets the tip as the Rockets starting to pick it up on the offensive boards. Had a miserable start in this game in that area.
8-2 run by Houston to get it going here in the third quarter. Hit by Hakeem. And the Rockets have turned things here in the third. It's down to a 5-point Magic lead, and that gets the crowd going. The double on Shaquille finds the open man. Only 1 of 7 from the field in the first half. Able to hit.
Tough double team that time by Chucky Brown, and then he took away the lane move by O'Neal, who likes to beat the double team sometime that way, but by taking that route, he left the passing lane open to a wide open Grant.
Elie for Brown. Elie with the tip. Grant with the rebound, had the goggles knocked loose, and he flicked it out of bounds. Horace Grant touched it last.
Well, Chucky Brown coming into this game, number 3 in the NBA in field goal percentage, just under 60%, 1 for 7, and he's had a lot of in and outers.
Olajuwon for Elie for 3. Rebound Brown. Olajuwon. Yes. The Magic 55 and the Rockets 50. So Houston with only 10 points in the entire second quarter. And put together 12 points the first 3 minutes and 8 seconds of this third quarter. Hakeem Olajuwon with 20 points as he has come to life in the third. We'll be right back. Christmas night in Orlando, Florida. The Orlando Magic being presented with a Christmas present in the first half. They led by as many as 15. Rockets out of it in the second quarter, out of sync, but they have come on here in the third quarter.
The NBA on NBC is brought to you by Jeep, maker of the new Jeep Grand Cherokee, By Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth. And by Pepsid AC Acid Controller. You can be heartburn-free with new Pepsid AC.
Christmas night in Orlando, Florida. The Orlando Magic being presented with a Christmas present in the first half. They led by as many as 15. Rockets out of it in the second quarter, out of sync, but they have come on here in the third quarter. And it's only a 5-point Orlando lead. Here's Horace Grant. So he's hit 2 in a row. And it's the Magic 57. And
Penny Hardaway.
Situation. It's nice when you have a Shaquille O'Neal and a Penny Hardaway as your go-to players who are going to create shots for other people. Getting the good pass to Horace Grant for his favorite type of shot at the top of the key.
Olajuwon not forcing the issue, saw he did not have the move. Able to work it out for Kenny Smith. And a loose ball foul call. It's on Brown. Chucky Brown called for the push.
52, Chucky Brown.
And he's hit with a technical foul. Did not like the call. Had some words with the official Nolan Fine, who did not accept it. So Chucky Brown hit with the tee.
Chucky having a tough night in a lot of different areas. He's the double teamer. His man scores, and he thinks it makes him look bad, although that's the way you have to play team defense. And now missing the shots that he has missed. I would think before too long, Rudy may go to what he feels is his best lineup, and it is when Robert Horry plays the so-called big forward position. And they goes pretty much small, which was a very effective lineup for them against the Magic last year in the finals. However, Clyde Drexler is a big part of that lineup.
Clyde Drexler sidelined by a contusion on the right shin. Rockets say he'll probably be out for 2 weeks. O'Neal getting position. And he was fouled. Off the double team.
Foul number 34, Akeem Olajuwon.
Called on Olajuwon. That is his second. So 2 apiece now on Olajuwon and O'Neal. Shaquille to the line. He hit his first 2. He missed his last 2.
You can see the look on Kenny Smith's face. He has the burden of trying to play Penny Hardaway, where the Magic are going to post up about 2 out of 3 times. He's trying to make things happen at the other end so he can stay out on the floor and help his team. He's trying to look for the 3-point shot. He's trying to run the ball before get other people involved, because he knows he's not going to be in there very long if Hardaway keeps scoring on him, and he is not productive at the other end.
Houston down by 7 points. Olajuwon set the pick, and it's a goaltend. The basket counts as Shaquille swatted it aside. Mario Elie receiving credit. He has 7 points, and it's 57-52 off this goaltend on O'Neal. Hardaway fired. It's a 3 for Penny Hardaway. He has 18 points, along with 6 rebounds and 5 assists. 60-52 Orlando. Elie followed off the screen by Anderson. Olajuwon with some room. That's his first miss of the quarter. Hit his previous 4 shots. Anderson tees it up. And a foul as Olajuwon went for the ball. He was hit from behind by O'Neal. That's 3 on Shaquille.
Well, Nick Anderson has been very quiet for the Orlando Magic, as has Dennis Scott. Nick with 7, Dennis Scott with 9, as Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway getting most of the catches, most of the touches, and most of the play. However, when the Magic are most successful, Dennis Scott and Nick Anderson are generally involved.
Olajuwon with the head fake. Goes into a series of fakes. And we are now seeing the Akeem that the Magic saw throughout the NBA Finals.
5 for 5 this quarter for Akeem. 5 for 6, I'm sorry, but challenged very well that time by Shaq.
Here's Scott. Forced the issue, recovered by Grant. And it was deflected out of bounds.
No doubt Akeem disappointed with his first half, just 4 for 13. He starts into those shake moves. Everybody starts spinning their head. It's amazing he doesn't walk with the ball, and he doesn't. He's got terrific footwork.
Orlando lead. Hardaway to the scoop. O'Neal with the rebound. Well, Shaq able to battle his way through. And the Magic leading now 62-54. 18 points for Shaquille O'Neal. Hakeem Olajuwon has 22. And the foul call. Hakeem off the fake, draws number 4 on Shaquille.
Now Shaq takes up so much space underneath the ball on the offensive boards here. Hakeem, who did not have a lot of success in the first half trying to face up on Shaq and drive on him, this time made a very quick inside pivot move and just drew the contact. And of course that'll send Shaq to the bench with his 4th, and John Koncak enters.
4th team foul on the Magic, 3 on the Rockets. John Koncak played only 3 minutes in the first half, and he is now running Olajuwon. Again, the foul on the Magic. Nick Anderson complaining as he's hit with his 3rd, and it puts the Magic over the limit.
Obviously, Nick thought he had all ball in the play by that reaction.
Well, Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott, who struggled during the course of the NBA Finals, are also having their difficulties here today. But we have much time remaining. Chucky Brown is 2 of 2 at the line. This is a Houston Rocket team that has won 19 and lost 7. They lead the Midwest Division by 1 game over the San Antonio Spurs, who earlier today in a game seen on NBC beat Phoenix 105-100, led by Sean Elliott with 26, David Robinson with 25 points. 6 minutes left, 3rd quarter. Here is Scott for 2. And Olajuwon to the boards. Fouled by Koncak. Not a good foul. Olajuwon had possession, and it was a strip attempt by Koncak.
Well, John Koncak, who did such a terrific job in the absence of Shaquille O'Neal in the first 22 games. The biggest area where John was helpful was in transition defense. He did not have a big role in the offense, was on the perimeter quite a bit, was able to get back, but also helped out clogging the lane, taking the hard fouls. However, there'll be about once or twice a game where John will pick up that foolish foul. That was one of them.
John Koncak, Atlanta's #1 draft pick, 5th pick overall back in 1985, and spent 10 years with the Atlanta Hawks, signed with Orlando as a free agent, started the first 23 games, 22 in the absence of Shaquille, and then Shaquille came back and came off the bench in his first game back.
Well, you look around the league, Marv, at all the teams that could use a backup center presence who doesn't really want the ball or need the ball to score, but will just play good, hard defense and spell your starting center. You can count them about 2 hands, but he chose to come to Orlando.
On 2 hands.
Well, unless you have 3 or 4, I don't know. Yeah, all right, take your shoes off.
The Magic by 4. Shot clock at 5. Position for Grant. Crowd looking for a goaltend.
And it was by John Koncak.
Here's Brown. Rejected by Grant. And Horace hears it from the crowd.
Well, Chucky Brown, who normally does a lot of his scoring right there, just not enough oomph to get up there and dunk the ball. Outstanding defensive play by Horace Grant. Brown stays frustrated as Hakeem Olajuwon on fire here in his 3rd quarter.
He has scored 14 of his 26 in the 3rd, and he's brought the Rockets within 2 with 5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Grant with the step. Jack, who is smothered. Robert Horry raising.
Foul number 25, Robert Horry.
And gets the foul call. His
second 14th foul.
Well, the Houston Rockets continue to come down and double team, whether it's Hardaway or O'Neal, with Chucky Brown, who is a big double teamer, makes the pass a little bit tougher. The Magic now, with this game getting so close, have to probe a little bit more and look for better shots out of that double team. For most of this game, they have gotten pretty much what they want with 1 pass out and a pretty good looking shot. Now they have to look for something better.
John Koncak, only a 54% free throw shooter. Hitting 1 out of 2. And again, Orlando suffering at the foul line. They are 6 of 14 at the line. Shaquille O'Neal contributing to that at 2 of 6. 3-point Magic lead. Olajuwon rebounded by Grant. Hardaway checking the floor. Waves Anderson away as Scott posts up. Here's Scott putting the move on. Rejected by Olajuwon. And Ori on the ball. Ori gives it back. Smith changed his mind. Chucky Brown is now 1 for 9 from the field. Scott for Anderson. Too strong for Grant. And Houston gets it back.
Well, Dennis Scott has really improved his post-up game, his one-on-one moves here, trying to take the taller 6'10" Robert Horry inside. Had him beat, but Hakeem Olajuwon with exceptional team defensive play coming over to swat him.
Just under 4 minutes left in the third. Ellie. So Mario Ellie gets the roll, and the Rockets down by as many as 15, trail by only 1. They have outscored the Magic 24-12 here in the third quarter. Battle for position between Anderson and Ellie. Contact with the shot. Ori is fouled by Grant. A loose ball foul on Horace Grant, and it will send Robert Ori to the line with the Magic the limit. That's 2 on Grant.
And even though there'll be free throws involved here for Robert Ori, a good foul by Horace Grant, because Robert Ori, had he been able to control that rebound, he had Kenny Smith on the fly for an easy layup. So at least Robert Ori, who always a good free throw shooter, has to go to the line. Talked in the beginning of the game how Robert Ori is so important to this team at both ends of the floor. He's bothered by tendonitis in the knee, and that knee is bad. His whole game sags, and without Drexler and an injured Ori, the Rockets are really just an ordinary team. And they showed that last year. They were the 6th best record in the Western Conference before they really started to get it going in the playoffs.
Robert Ori suddenly has found the three-point shot. We saw that in the NBA Finals, and he has been gunning more frequently from downtown. 45% shooting with the threes, averaging just under 14 points per game as compared to 10 a year ago. Had a 40-point game against Milwaukee back in November.
Oddly enough, that came after a 3-point game the game before. I think that was against the, I'm sure it was against the Toronto Raptors when he hit a game-winning 3. His only points of the game against 40 the next night.
The game is tied at 63. Joe Wolf is back on the floor for the Magic. The lead for Grant, who is tied up and fouled. Horace Grant fouled by Robert Ori, committing his 3rd, and that puts the Rockets over the foul limit. There's Sam Cassell replacing Kenny Smith. Leads with 6 points, hit 2 from three-point land. Grant on the line for the first time. Orlando is now 6 of 15 from the line, and they certainly are not unaccustomed to having their woes at the free throw line. They picked it up this season primarily because Shaquille O'Neal was out with the thumb injury last year. They shot 67% at the line. It was last in the league, the only team under 70. How bad did it get in one game against the Nets? They missed 17 of 23 at the line. Cassell kept alive by Bryant. Mark Bryant giving Hakeem Olajuwon a rest, particularly with Shaquille sitting down with the 4 fouls. Ori fires. And Chuck Brown keeps it alive. Different story on the offensive boards in this third quarter.
Well, I'm sure Rudy Tomjanovich, and they've been talking about it for a couple of years now, really had something to say at halftime about that area.
Ellie, yes. Mario Ellie eluding Nick Anderson and then able to hit. So the Rockets take the lead for the first time since late first quarter when they were up 26-25. Nick Anderson, though, gets it right back for the Magic as we come up on 2 minutes to go in the third. The Magic 66 and the Rockets 65. And Rudy Tomjanovich wants a timeout. So led by Hakeem here in the third. The Rockets able to turn it around.
I'm Mark Jackson of the Indiana Pacers. I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and God bless you. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh.
And unfortunately, Mark's wife, Desiree, who is a professional singer, was not on hand for that session. Mark rivaling Dennis Scott, who we saw earlier in terms of his musical talents, or lack of.
That's why they pay those professionals, so the amateurs don't do it.
But we thank Mark for sending his holiday greetings to all. Marv Albert with Matt Dukas from Orlando. The Rockets with an 11-4 run with Shaquille O'Neal on the bench after picking up his fourth foul. Good play by Brian Shaw on the block. And Ellie will throw in with 7 on the shot clock. Just under 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Here's Cassell for 3. And rebounded by Anderson.
Well, during the last timeout, Ahmad Rashad, who's been near the Orlando bench, saying Brian Hill stressing the importance of defense. It didn't work. I'm sure he said the same thing again during this timeout period as the Rockets have outscored the Magic 12-2 on the offensive boards in this quarter.
And the Rockets have outscored the Magic 27-15 overall in the third quarter. Apparently a problem with the shot clock. They are readjusting it. An official timeout call by Jess Kersey. So Anderson will put it in play. Hardaway posting up. Open shot for Grant. He's found the touch. Had his problems in the first half, but he has come on. 9 points, 8 rebounds for Horace Grant. 3-point lead for the Magic. Ellie with the run and drew the foul. It was blocked.
Foul number 12, Joe Wolf.
Foul on Wolf. His second. And again, Joe Wolf hearing the cries of Wolf. Very clever from the crowd. Keem Olajuwon is back. Keem Olajuwon after the 4 of 13 first half. 6 of 8. 14 of his 26 here in the third quarter. While Shaquille O'Neal remains on the bench after picking up a fourth foul.
Mario Elliott, 88%, or just missed that first one. He has made a conscious effort in this third quarter to put the ball on the floor and drive to the basket and either create something for himself, a teammate, or get fouled. Done a good job in this quarter.
12 points for Ellie. Rockets down by 2 as we approach a minute left in the quarter. Anderson from way out for 3. And rebounded by Cassell. Works his way out of the pack and goes all the way. Olajuwon on the follow, and the game is tied at 68.
Well, nobody for the Magic in this whole second half putting a body on any of the Rockets as far as keeping them off the board. It's driving Brian Hill crazy right now. And they have let the Rockets back into the game because of that.
Anderson. Nick Anderson backing his way. And it's Orlando 70, Houston 68.
It's a 2-for-1 situation where the Rockets want to get 2 possessions, 2 shots for the Magic. 1, Mario Elliott reminding Cassell of the situation.
They double up on Olajuwon. Open shot for Elliott for 3. Yes. Hakeem so adept on the double team of finding the open man. And here's Hardaway. Not able to hit as he beat the Rockets down court. Sam Cassell indicating hold for a final shot. 10 seconds left, third quarter. Rockets with the ball and a 1-point lead. Out of 3, 2, 1. Horry for 3. Yes! Robert Horry with the buzzer. 3-pointer. And the Rockets lead 74-70 after 3 quarters. So it's Houston 74, Orlando 70. We will see Shaquille make his return in the fourth quarter. We'll be back at the arena in a moment.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of the NBA.
Welcome back to Orlando, Florida. We are at the arena, better than 17,000 on hand, the usual sellout at the Orlando Arena as we take another look at the three-point shot by Horry at the end of the third quarter.
And how reminiscent is that of last year in Game 3 of the NBA Finals with 14 seconds to go. Robert Horry hit the game clincher three on a play just like that, only about 6 feet over to his right and about 1,500 miles away at the Summit in Houston.
Well, the Rockets outscored the Magic in the third, 36-19. This after a 10-point second quarter, an embarrassing second quarter for the Houston Rockets. You see Shaquille O'Neal back on the floor. In the first half, the Rockets account for only 38 points. Third quarter, they score 36. So the battle resumes between Shaquille and Hakeem. Olajuwon taking over in the third, and here is O'Neal with his ninth field goal. He's 9 of 12. He has 20 points, and it's a 2-point Houston lead. Hakeem Olajuwon in the third quarter, 16 points, 16 of his 28, along with 7 rebounds. Olajuwon feeling for O'Neal. Yes.
He felt him. It had to feel like a brick wall. He met resistance, but as soon as he felt the body, he knew he could take that long step and shoot his favorite shot.
Rockets lead by 4. Pass intended for Bowie, anticipated by Horry. Nice play by Robert Horry.
How reminiscent is that of Robert Horry, who really had a defining moment in last year's playoffs, particularly the final, when he just played Scottie Pippen-type defense, and there he showed it right there.
His first team foul.
Here's Shaq on a good double team inside, but what Shaq did there was reestablish position after the ball went outside. Olajuwon turned away by O'Neal, but right into his comfort zone.
Anthony Bowie called for that blocking foul at midcourt. Cassell, Sam Cassell able to split through. He has 9 points. Rockets 78, the Magic 72. Bowie being guarded by Tim Rowe. Got some playing time in the first half. O'Neal missed the tip and rebounded by Cassell. Here's Horry for 3. That's the same spot he hit from at the end of the third quarter. O'Neal, Wolf, Scott, Shaw, and Bowie on the court. Shaquille for Scott. 10. And Horry on the rebound. 2 minutes gone by in the fourth quarter. And Scott is 3 for 11. Ryan Shaw 0 for 5. Mark Bryant working on Joe Wolf. Gets the roll. Mark Bryant with his first field goal. Spent 7 years with the Portland Trailblazers, primarily as a backup at forward and center.
Well, the Magic have tried to go inside to Brian Shaw, maybe get the fourth foul in Cassell and take a little, give a breather to Shaquille O'Neal to play off the ball, maybe get to the offensive boards, which he did, but the Magic still unable to score.
Holding foul is called. Hakeem arguing the call as he picks up his third, and a timeout is taken. And tonight, some Christmas memories. Magic versus Bulls, Christmas Day, 1993. The game tied, and it was Tony Kukoc with time running out, hitting this shot of the Bulls, won it 95-93. Knicks and Bulls last Christmas in overtime. Scottie Pippen in the final seconds, blocking Hubert Davis, and then a block of Charles Smith. And the Bulls win it 107-104 in overtime. In recognition of these moments, Keller Genuine Draft will donate $1,000 to the Thurgood Marshall Scholarship Fund. We have 9 minutes and 19 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter here in Orlando. The Rockets, after trailing by as many as 15, have extended to an 8-point lead. It is their biggest lead of the night, as they have outscored the Magic in the second half, 42-21. Remember Game 1 of the NBA Finals here in Orlando last year. The Rockets down by 20 in the first half and came back to win. Horry with the block. O'Neal on the follow.
Well, I'm reading Brian Hill's lips talking to Shaq on the way out to start play, saying Shaq, we need you on the offensive board, but don't forget, you also have to get back quickly on defense. Shaq took care of the first part there by getting the follow-up.
Houston with a 6-point advantage. Olajuwon.
We saw one of those in the first half. I didn't think we'd see one for another couple of months.
Here's Scott to the basket. No foul. Olajuwon looking at the official, Nolan Fine. Scott also glanced over at the official.
But no real complaint because Hakeem Olajuwon too far underneath the basket. Good call by the officials.
It's a 4-point Houston lead. 8:20 left in the fourth. Horry followed up. Horry on the recovery. And timeout. You try to call timeout, but it will be a jump ball.
Rudy Tomjanovich not arguing too much on this play with Jess Kersey. I think he likes Robert Horry's chances of winning this tip, even though he's going to be jumping against another 6'10" player, Horace Grant, who's still bothered by that shin.
Horry upset because he felt he had called the timeout, but the whistle had blown. So they will jump it up. On the line for the Orlando Magic, that unbeaten record at home. They are 14-0 here in Orlando. They won 21 straight going back to last season. We're talking regular season play.
39-2 overall. Did not lose to an Eastern Conference team. The only teams they lost to, Seattle and Utah.
Tough toss. Controlled by the Rockets. Horry coming up short. Ran by O'Neal. 16 rebounds for Shaquille. And Jess Kersey blowing the whistle. And looking to discuss matters with Monty McCutcheon.
I just heard Jess Kersey look at referee Monty McCutcheon and just saying he blew the whistle because he said my fault. So obviously an inadvertent whistle. No play.
So the shot clock just resumes. O'Neal with a nice pass. And Brian Shaw with his first field goal.
Shaq starting to make it happen at both ends. Following up shot, finding the open man, getting the defensive rebound.
6-on-1 for Orlando. They're within two. Ellie. Played by Louis. Shot clock at 1. Horry fired. Just did get it off. Anthony Bowie. Brian Shaw. And he pulls it back. Dennis Scott got the step and was blocked by Robert Horry. That's 4 on Horry.
Well, Shaquille O'Neal wants to take it on his shoulders right now at both ends of the floor. He wants the ball every opportunity to try to score himself. Here he finds Brian Shaw on the nice cut underneath the basket.
Rockets have a 2-point lead. 5 minutes in, fourth quarter. Brian Shaw and Sam Cassell on the rebound. Cassell going behind the back and then fouled by Shaw. Second team foul for the Magic and a timeout taken by Brian Hill. We'll be back in Orlando in a moment.
And since Bryant and Olajuwon have been in there together, the Magic have made a switch. Shaq has been guarding Mark Bryant and Horace Grant watching Olajuwon. I would think, however, the ball goes into Olajuwon, they'll have to double team and help Horace Grant.
Sell and Elliott the guards with the combination of Olajuwon, Bryant, Horry on the front line. 6:25 remaining in the fourth quarter, and that's a traffic violation on Horry.
Fake right, go left, and the official that makes the call down on the left baseline, the man who had the best look at it, I couldn't remember whether it was Jess or Monty, but they thought it was not a walk, and it wasn't, but Nolan Fine ran out of the pack to call walking.
Brian Shaw handling Sam Cassell. Penny Hardaway being played by Mario Ellie gets the pick from Shaquille. Pick and roll. Basket won't count. Foul before the shot attempt. Foul on Olajuwon. And that is his fourth.
Well, this is a favorite play of the Magic coming down the stretch. Again, it's not a play where you throw it into Akil in the post. You run them off a little pick and roll situation, and when you get the defense shifting, you'll be able to throw that lob up there, almost where Shaq is a second option where he can still be effective.
To the left-hand hook shot. Rockets 80, Magic 78 as we come up on 6 minutes left in the fourth, and another turnover. A travel on Cassell, who shuffled his feet.
And that was a goal call because Sam did move them. But the Rockets are a team that prides themselves on not beating themselves. They don't make a lot of mistakes, especially in this situation. But they have gone cold from the field. They've got over 3 minutes without scoring.
Stepping to the lane to break up the pass. Cassell directing traffic. Horry cuts to the corner. He's cleared out the lane. Allowing Olajuwon to operate, but the shot off the mark.
Well, right man, bad play. Nobody going to the basket. No double team. No offensive rebound.
Scott. And the game tied at 80.
Well, Robert Horry has been doing a terrific job on Dennis Scott. That time Scott knew he had to get away from the taller Horry and shot the fadeaway.
Ellie for the open three, too strong. Played by Cassell. Here's Cassell. Anticipating that call when the whistle was blown. And his assistant coaches Bill Berry and Carol Dawson and Larry Smith had to hold him back.
If you remember that play early in the ballgame when Cassell picked up the second on Shaq by waving his arm off, Brian Hill made the officials aware of it, and now 2 have gone against Sam Cassell.
He has 4 fouls in all. Shot clock at 7. The steal by Bryant. Brian Hill wanted a foul on Bryant. Horry is foul. Horry helping up Nick Anderson, who committed the foul.
Sam picked up this loose ball. He did wave off with the left arm. He had Olajuwon open momentarily, but decided to take it on his own shoulders. And while that was happening, here's Rudy sprinting down, thinking he had the basket. But I think from Rudy's angle, too, I think he did see that little wave off by Sam Cassell. It was a good call by the officials, despite the histrionics of Rudy Tomjanovich, who normally is pretty mild over there.
That correction on the last foul. It's on Shaquille O'Neal, not Nick Anderson, and that's 5 on Shaquille. 4 apiece on Olajuwon, Horry, and Cassell. Remaining on the floor with 4:37 to go in this fourth quarter, and the Rockets now up by 2.
I was going to say a gamble on the part of Brian Hill with this much time remaining. However, with the ball game close like this, looks like he's going to ride it out.
Moved by Hardaway, and he draws the foul. So Hardaway to the line. Both teams in good shape in terms of timeouts remaining. Houston with 4 and a 20. Orlando 3 and a 20.
Well, how good is this post move against a pretty tough competitive defender, Sam Cassell, who gives up a height disadvantage to Hardaway, but just the quickness and feeling the body and the spin. Terrific post move by Penny Hardaway.
Foul was called on Bryant. Hardaway has 19 points. 3 of 5 at the line. Also has 8 assists, 6 rebounds. The game is tied at 82. 4:20 to go in this fourth quarter. A meeting of the 2 finalists from last June. The Houston Rockets making it 2 straight championships. They swept the Orlando Magic in 4. Bryant rejected. Triple count. It's a goal down. So Mark Bryant gets credit And the Rockets lead 84-82.
Well, good call by Rudy Tomjanovich with Mark Bryant being defended by Shaquille O'Neal. Try to work the post move, possibly get the 6th foul on O'Neal. Shaq avoided the contact, but the goaltending.
Just under 4 minutes remaining in this fourth quarter. Hardaway pops it cross court to Scott. Oh, what a pass from Penny Hardaway. That was out of the pages of Ernie DiGregorio. I believe your former teammate.
He threw a few to me. I didn't make the shot, however, but great pass by Hardaway. Able to see over the smaller defender.
You rarely see that cross-court pass. Bryant once again, as Shaquille O'Neal has to be very careful. Does not want Mark Bryant to foul him out. Rockets by 1. 3:20 to go in this fourth quarter. O'Neal to the spin. The two by Grant. Grant has 11. Orlando by 1.
Well, that was set up by all the defense focusing in on Shaquille O'Neal and everybody turning their head to help out. Nobody got a body on Horace Grant. Shaquille on the baseline. Sorry, we've seen a couple of air balls, but here's Shaq forcing this one up a bit. Nobody able to get the body on Horace Grant as he follows up and in.
3:02 remaining in the fourth. The Magic by 1.
Silent night, holy night. Hi, I'm Terry Cummings. And I'm Ben Baker of the Milwaukee Bucks. We want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a great New Year.
Some professional talent, clearly our best holiday rendition from Vin Baker and Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks. 3 minutes, 2 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. The Magic leading by 1. Shaquille O'Neal with 5 fouls. Hakeem Olajuwon with 4. We have 4 changes of the lead here in this fourth quarter. And one stretch, Houston down by as many as 15. They've led by as many as 8, but Orlando able to reel off 8 straight points to get back into it. And the Magic with that 1-point lead. Here's Bryant again going at O'Neal. And hits Mark Bryant trying to draw that 6th foul on Shaquille O'Neal. Meanwhile, he's at 4 of 5 for the game for 8 points.
Well, successful strategy ever since Mark Bryant came over to this team. Assistant coach Carl Dawson working with him on his post moves, and it's paying off right now.
Rockets by 1. Here's Scott, who is on fire. Not that time. He hit his previous 3. And back comes Cassell. Change of direction. Mark Bryant has given the Rockets a 3-point lead. Mark Bryant, the backup center and forward in his 8th NBA season at Seton Hall, has been a major factor here in the fourth quarter. Hardaway for 3. Cassell on the rebound with 2 minutes to go in this fourth quarter. Rockets with the ball and a 3-point lead.
And it looks like they're going to stay with the same play. Go inside to Mark Bryant. I have a feeling they'll come and double it hard this time. Get it out of his hands.
Bryant with the fake, and he's called for a covering violation.
Well, nobody came right away on the catch. Horace Grant tried to get there. He got knocked off by Penny Hardaway. Mark Bryant did not like that call. He felt he got bumped by O'Neal, and it would have been Shaq's 6th.
Nick Anderson, played by Sam Cassell. It is Olajuwon defending against O'Neal at the other end. Here's Scott for 3. And he has tied the game at 90.
And what's setting that up, Marv, is an outstanding pick by Horace Grant to knock off the rotating defender, and that's why Dennis Scott is getting wide open.
Dennis Scott getting hot here in the fourth quarter. We come up on 1 minute remaining in the fourth. Bryant pops it out. Ellie for rebounded by Hardaway, protecting. We are under 1 minute left in the fourth quarter. The game is tied at 90, and Brian Hill wants to talk it over.
This is the NBA on NBC.
Welcome back to the Orlando Arena. The Rockets and the Magic are tied at 90. You see 50 and 7/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. The timeouts remaining. Houston with 3 and a 20. Orlando 2 and a 20.
Well, in this situation, whenever it occurred in the first 22 games of the year, no question about it, Penny Hardaway, the go-to guy. You put the ball in his hands and let him create. Even with Shaquille O'Neal back, you still want to put it in Hardaway's hands. He can score himself. He can find other people open. Two beautiful passes to Dennis Scott, and that enables Shaq to move without the ball and get to the offensive rebounds where he might not be fouled.
And the next foul by the Rockets puts them over the limit. 10 on the shot clock. 45 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Hardaway battles with Ellie. Hardaway. Last touch by the Magic. It'll be Houston in possession, but first a timeout called by the Rockets. 37 and 2/10 seconds to go in the fourth. Well, Houston and Orlando tied at 90, 37, 2/10 seconds to go in the fourth quarter, and the Rockets have had some last-second heroics this season. November the 15th in Toronto. You mentioned this earlier, Matt. Game tied at 93. Robert Horry with the 3 for the win. He hit it at the buzzer. And then there was December the 5th in Salt Lake City, Utah. Rockets down by 1, and Olajuwon with the last-second shot as the Rockets were able to pull out the victory. Right here they have their full 24. Hakeem has been quiet in the fourth after that blockbuster third. The game tied at 90, and Mario Ellie will put it in play at midcourt.
And the Magic have a foul to give. It's a 2-for-1 situation for the Rockets. However, I think they're only thinking about getting a good shot here. I don't know if I'd go to Mark Bryant, who's been successful in this fourth quarter, because he probably will not get a beneficial call from the officials.
All right, right now, Orlando not looking to bust the pattern and commit the foul. They have that extra foul to give. Olajuwon, here's a key wild shot. Not what he had in mind. Scott takes it for the Magic. 20 seconds to go. Game tied at 90. No timeout being called. Down to 10 on the shot clock. 1 second differential with the game clock. Hardaway off the dribble. Goes right at Ellie. And hits. 3 and 1/10 seconds remain as Penny Hardaway is able to hit to give the Magic a 2-point lead. The Rockets take a timeout. Orlando by 2. When we come back, it will be Houston in possession, and we'll be right back after these messages. A moment ago, it was Mr. Clutch himself, Penny Hardaway, with this shot to give Orlando the 2-point lead. 22 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds for Hardaway, who has been the master of the game-winning shot. Got the friendly roll to take the lead. And this season, Penny has hit 2 other game winners. November 11th against the Miami Heat. Orlando down by 1. And here's Hardaway hitting the winning shot with 1 2/10 seconds to play. And he did it one other time, November the 22nd against Vancouver. The game tied at 93, and here is Penny off glass to win it to beat the Grizzlies.
Well, everybody out on the floor right now for the Rockets capable of making the 3-point shot, including Hakeem Olajuwon. Just 2 for 4 this year, but he'll probably get the best look.
They do have 1 foul to give. Orlando can give a foul and take a delay of game. They take the delay of game. Dennis Scott stepping in on Mario Ellie, so Orlando could look at the alignment, and now Brian Hill saw what he wanted and takes a timeout.
Well, he saw the play. It's a familiar one. Oddly enough, Horace Grant was matched up with Hakeem Olajuwon, which would make it a lot more difficult for him to get open for a 3-point shot. But Shaquille O'Neal watching Robert Horry, and Horry quick enough should be able to shake loose from Shaquille O'Neal. We'll see if Brian Hill changes that during this timeout.
And you see the timeouts left. Each club with one conventional timeout and a 20. Houston is over the limit. Orlando can break the pattern with the foul. They have one foul to give. Run down to the individual scorers. Hakeem Olajuwon is the high man with 30. At the big third quarter, Shaquille O'Neal playing with the 5 fouls through a good portion of the fourth quarter with 22. Penny Hardaway, who a moment ago gave the Magic the lead, has 22. Dennis Scott with 19, and he lit it up in the fourth quarter.
The end of game 1 of regulation in the NBA Finals. The Rapids ran a play to free up Kenny Smith to come out high to either use a pick or take the 3. We'll see if the Rockets try to run the same play.
Ellie will throw in. 3 and 1/10 seconds remaining in this fourth quarter. The Magic up 92-90. It's Ori getting it off for 3. So Robert Ori with the 3-point attempt, but not able to hit. And the Orlando Magic continue their invincibility at home. They are 15-0 here at the arena. They go to 22-6, and the Rockets now 19 up and 8 down. Good comeback by Houston, down by as many as 15. But the Magic hold on for the win on the last-second bucket by Hardaway. They won it 92-90. Let's check in with Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad?
All right, thanks, Mark. This was not the NBA Finals, but you had to feel good about this victory, Penny.
I did feel good about this victory. It was just like deja vu when they came back from the 13-point lead in this game and went up by 8 in the third quarter. But we hung in there and got a great victory.
You have to give them credit, though. They did come back after being beaten so badly in the first half.
Really, even without Clyde Drexler, these guys still playing well right now. I think they still got to find their little niche, without Clyde in there. But they did play well tonight, and then I give them all the credit in the world.
All right, congratulations to you, and have a wonderful holiday.
All right, thanks a lot.
All right, back to you, Mark.
Thanks, Ahmad, and a sensational day for the All-Star Penny Hardaway. 22 points, 10 assists, and 7 rebounds. Again, the final score here in Orlando. The Magic 92 and the Rockets 90. Join NBC Sports next Sunday at 3:30 p.m. Eastern for the opening round of the NFL playoffs, the AFC Wild Card game. It all starts with the NFL on NBC and then playoff action with the Colts going against the Chargers. For Matt Kukas and Ahmad Rashad, I'm Marv Albert saying so long from Orlando. You've been watching the NBA on NBC.